We usually get asked the question, in real estate, there's an extremely high failure rate. It's 85% of the agents that get licensed are gone within the first 2 years. I don't know how true it is. I know that, just from being the team leader of a big brokerage, I can tell you that 50% of the agents didn't sell a house in 12 months, in a 12-month period. So that's pretty standard, no matter which brokerage you're at. Most brokerages are all about asses and chairs and not so much production, and that pisses me off. It shouldn't be that way. Rather than trying to recruit more agents, why don't you just get the agents you have into production? So anyways, this guy goes on and he asks a question. He says, how much cold calling do you do these days, and does it really work? And I'm just going to read you my response. It's easier than trying to memorize this whole thing. And it's funny when you go through, no, it doesn't work. Oh, I tried it one time and blah, blah, blah. If you're going to take advice from people, take advice from people that have done the work. If I'm going to try to build a bigger muscle, a bigger chest, I'm going to do the push-ups. And I'm not going to take advice from somebody that's never done a push-up, let alone, here's the way I think about it. If I'm going to take advice from somebody on how to build a real estate business, they'd better have done more than me. And one of the people that I talked to and listened to has sold over 4,000. It's a pretty good number, right? Considering most agents in 2025 didn't sell let alone 4,000 over a career. Anyway, it doesn't matter how long the career was. Anyways, the question was, does cold calling work? So my answer is here. So look, I've logged hundreds of hours, and it's probably closer to thousands of hours. When I started real estate, man, when I started, it was different, but I remember being at Century 21 and a bunch of us would come in the mornings, 9 o'clock, and we would start. And it's part of I'll go on here. Anyways, maybe thousands of hours. We used to start at 9 a.m., and we didn't leave until we got 3 appointments. 3 appointments. And this is back in the 90s, for God's sakes, when all we had was a Verner's directory and a list of names, addresses, and phone numbers to the entire city. It was like our own personal private phone book for everybody in the entire world. Everybody had a landline. Contacting people was never a problem. But still, back in the 90s, people felt that their telephones weighed 400 pounds, the same as they think their cell phones weigh 400 pounds. So they don't make phone calls. That's my point. 3 appointments every day. The goal was 3, but our minimum standard was 1 appointment. We didn't get to leave the office until we had 1 appointment. There were some mornings when I was done by 9:30, and there were other days, 9:30 in the morning. There were other days when I was still plugging on the phone, making hundreds and hundreds of calls. 9:30 at night. So I put in the time, I put in the money, and I put in the energy for decades. This isn't a one-time thing, man. I remember when I started in real estate, Canada Trust had a real estate division. I started there in a cubicle. And many of my friends are still in real estate today. We're probably the most successful. We're like the Edmonton Oilers of real estate. We're still in the business, man. A handful of us. So today I no longer make cold calls or deal with cold leads. And I made that decision a long time ago. And that's why I was so happy when Zach wanted to come in and get into real estate with us back in 2016. It's like, man, I don't have to be a buyer agent anymore, right? Anyways, so the work I put in led to a full database and a ton of agent-to-agent referrals. I spent a lot of time up and down that 401 doing conferences, attending conferences. It didn't matter what was going on. Alex was there. And I built a huge agent relationship database. So I put the work in that led to a full database and a ton of agent-to-agent referrals. So by today, I haven't 6 or 7 years done all that, but I haven't made cold calls or talked to cold leads 6, 7 years. Plus I did build 3 very successful farm areas by doing work most agents will never do. And that's the problem. Most agents will never do the work. I was the guy that got up at 4:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, to deliver penny savers. Back in the 90s, I mean, Marissa and Zach were small. And I didn't want my friends to catch me, so I would unload my hockey bag, fill it full of flyers. And the only reason I did it was because I knew my flyers weren't getting delivered. People were out there just shoving them in lockers and garbage bins. So I made sure my flyers got delivered. My first campaign back then was a flyer a week for 20 weeks, and I still do the same campaign today. Just now, I haven't done it myself since 2021. We built 2 farm areas that year. And the first one I started in 2010. Like, come on. So anyways, I built 3 very successful farm areas by doing the work most agents will never do. And I signed off saying, it works if you work. And that's the bottom line. If you want a successful real estate business, don't look at me today. Look at me 30 years ago. Look at me 20 years ago. Look at me 5 years ago. Still hammering doors differently and doing it for other people. I was out there with other 8 guys on the team doing things for them as a leader should do, right? Anyways, that's my point. No, not anything. Things will work if you do the work. Don't be out there looking for a magic pill. There's no Ozempic of real estate that's going to help you. Go out, do the work. DTFW.